So here's my intro that I haven't quite figured out how to make seem nice, but there we go. Nice. So welcome everybody to the Orange Chair Dialogue, which is a weird name if you don't know what we're up to. It's a short story about that. I had a conversation with people in my driveway during COVID because nobody could go anywhere when things were just starting. And we had red camp chairs in the driveway of my house and had a conversation, and it was awesome. And I decided, hey, red chair driveway dialogue, this is going to be awesome. But the second time I tried to have that dialogue, the red chair broke. So we couldn't do it anymore. And so when I brought it to this platform, I decided orange was a better color for me than red. And hence was born the Orange Chair Dialogue, which we have on
today. I didn't know that. I didn't know the backstory.
There's the backstory. A really quick version of that. So welcome everybody who's here live or later watching. I am excited to have this conversation with two of my really good friends, John Murphy and Chris Angell. If you know anything about what the Orange Chair has been or what Get Real is about, it's about digging in, making things more than surfacey, I would say. And both John and I and Chris and I have had conversations just like that go way beyond the surface, because heck, what do we have to lose by being real and getting deep? So Chris Angell is a marketing expert and is also working to create a platform so that 1 million people can do their important work in the world and get deep and broad and make a difference. He and I are working on something that we'll announce to you coming up here in the very, very near future called Vibe Masterminds. Welcome, Chris.
Hi, thanks for having me, Jody. Good to be here.
Yes. And John Murphy is an author and the founder and CEO of Venture Management Consultants, Inc. And he specializes in creating lean, high-performance work environments. So it's very left-brained in that way. But for some reason and somehow, John also incorporates spirituality and A Course in Miracles into the work he does. And so John and I have had some great conversations as well about how spirit and work can go together. So you're in for a treat tonight, because who knows where this is going to go when we get together with like-minded and like-hearted others. So welcome, John.
Thanks, Jody. Great to be back.
Yeah, I love it. And John, you are not in Michigan today. You are back in Florida.
Yes.
And is this your second home?
It's now my primary. I'm full-time in Florida now.
You moved from Michigan.
Yeah.
Couldn't take the cold anymore, huh?
Yeah, well, I've got a couple of grown kids living in Michigan, so I'll be back up in the summertime to visit. But
the good time to be in Michigan.
Right.
So welcome. And Chris is with us tonight from Spokane, Washington.
Yep.
So
Spokane.
We've got the USA covered here.
Yeah, got it. Coast to coast.
So I don't even really know where to start with this conversation, because there's so many places we can go. But I'm going to start by asking John, how in the heck did you get where you are to be putting lean manufacturing and spirituality together? I mean, that can't just happen overnight.
No, it doesn't. Well, lean is really about creating better flow in your business, and flow translates into inventory flow, cash flow, human creativity flow. Really, it's like a symphony orchestra. You've got different people doing different functions, but they're all playing off the same hymnal. They're playing as one. So high performance teamwork is really where you get all these different people, these different functions flowing as one. So that whole concept of flow led me into more and more depth, or deepness, if you will, Jody, to use your word earlier, on how do we tap into the Holy Spirit, so to speak, flow. The inspiration is about being in spirit. In spirit means fearless, essentially. When we're inspired, we're not afraid of anything. So we are letting go of resistance, and we're far more creative. We're far more likely to take certain risks to get things done. And I run a lot of Kaizen events, as you know, it's a lean practice. Kaizen is a Japanese term. It comes from two words made into one, Kai and Zen. Kai is to take apart and make new, and Zen, of course, is to think positive, healthy, well-being, balance, harmony. So a Kaizen event is where we take a process, let's just say a process that's got 100 steps and 10 people involved, and it takes 3 months to get it finished from end to end. We take that process and we eliminate a lot of steps. We eliminate a lot of non-value added activity. We smooth it out. We make it flow a lot better. So now instead of a 100-step process, we've got a 30-step process. Instead of taking 3 months, it takes 3 weeks. It's just flowing. It's just much better. And so running hundreds of Kaizen events in dozens of countries around the world, that whole idea of flow, I used to have what we used to call them black belts, and that term's not as popular anymore, but Lean Six Sigma, Jody, you know that, Lean Six Sigma black belts. As I was teaching them a lot of these tools, I'd have them as a homework assignment, take them home and apply them on themselves. So take a tool like the 5 whys, where you ask 5 levels of why deep on any problem you have, or take a process map and map out an important process you do at home every day. And look for the non-value add, look for the wasted time, look for the muda, so to speak, the waste. And when you get people to apply a lot of these tools to their own personal lives, and they see better flow in their personal lives, better relationships, better cash flow, just better organization. You take a tool like 5S, which is workplace organization, and you start applying that in your home, it's powerful. And so I've been using a lot of these tools personally for a long time. I'll be 61 here in a couple of months, and I feel like I'm, still in my 40s, because I attribute a lot of my career success and my impact in the world to these very principles and techniques and tools that aren't just about manufacturing environments or work environments. They're things we can do at home. We can even apply them to our own bodies. So another important tool is called the IPO diagram, the input process output diagram. The outputs you're getting in life, this is the transfer function you probably learned in 7th grade algebra. Y is a function of X. So the Y are the output variables. So, and the I is the input variable. So input, process, output. So we look at the outputs we're getting in our life, whether they're financial outputs like a bunch of debt or not enough cash flow. We look at, or they could be human physical outputs like high blood pressure or high blood sugar or overweight, underweight, whatever these outputs, relationship outputs. You're in a lousy relationship, you're not in any relationship, whatever. You look at your outputs in life, what you're reaping, and you trace it back to the inputs. And so true knowledge is knowing the relationship between inputs and outputs. So I know if I change this input, I'm going to get an improvement in this output. So it's Y as a function of X. So I've been teaching these tools for a long time in the business setting, but I've learned that they apply just as much, if not more, to individuals. So I've taken that into my coaching practice. And at the end of the day, it's all about good flow.
Yeah.
Your life is flowing. In the Tao, because I've studied the Tao for many years, there's a term called Wu Wei, which is Chinese for effortless manifestation. Effortless manifestation. How do I get great results in life without working that hard?
Well, that's what we all want to know.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's gutsy to integrate that woo-woo. Well, you said woo-woo, but woo-woo stuff, right? The spirit.
Woo-wei. Yeah, woo-wei.
All that
Woo-wei.
that touchy-feely stuff that you put into the tactical, John, I think takes some guts. I don't know, Chris, you and I talked about that too.
What John was saying to me, I feel like the thing that gets in the way of, like, I'm a very right-brained person. I'm creative. I tend to make details the enemy. Any type of structure feels like it gets in my way. And so when you described flow, starting with Six Sigma as like flow in process, flow in cash flow, but you moved it into flow as in life and Zen and the things that flow there, I hadn't seen it like that before. And what I love about it is I think a lot of us are stuck in a story called it's this or it's that. And if I'm this, then that's the enemy. And I just love that there is this space for both, like that if we could open ourselves to the possibility that it's actually the flow happens when you embrace both. Flow doesn't happen in one without the other. It's both, left brain and right brain. It's both internal and external. It's both X and I, right? Input, output. It's both. Yeah. That's what creates the flow. It's not just, you can't just bring it in without letting it go out. There's no flow in that.
Yeah, in fact, another problem-solving technique I teach and we use in Kaizen events and such is the third, what I call the third right answer. So what you just described, Chris, there's option A and there's option B, and we tend to fight over A versus B, Republican versus Democrat, right versus wrong, us versus them. That's all ego. But when we start looking for the third answer, like, wait a minute, there's a third? What's that?
I love that.
And so I often say that, we're searching for option C by looking at A and B. So now we've got A, B, and C, and guess which one we usually go with? And the answer is D. We actually don't go with any of the first three because now the lights are really coming on. We're getting that creativity flow, and all of a sudden we've got some combination solution, a little bit of A, a little bit of B, and we're beyond that dualistic, that duality of the ego. The ego thinks in terms of dualities, right and wrong, us and them, win and lose. And this is all about win-win.
Yeah.
And it's very powerful. So, and to your point about, courage and gutsy, Jody, I go into these events. Sometimes I don't know the language, and I'm doing this in China, Brazil, Argentina. I don't know the language. I don't know the people. I've done this in the military in Washington, D.C. with, senior military people. It can be a somewhat threatening or environment. And on Monday, people are doubting the process, saying there's no way we're going to get these changes made in a week. This is absurd. This is, it's impossible. And on Thursday, when we're actually testing or piloting the new process, they're high-fiving each other like a miracle just happened. I can't believe we did this. And there is some discipline to the process, Chris, to your point. It's I tend to use a model called DMAIC, D-M-A-I-C, which is a global best practice used by great companies all over the world. The D stands for define, so you can use it at home or at work. You got a problem or a challenge or something to work on, define it. I often say to people in my classes, when they say I have a problem, I'll say, prove it. They're like, what do you mean prove it? Well, you said you have a problem. Show me the data. And that leads to the M in DMAIC. Define it and measure current state. So how long does it take? How many steps are involved? How many people are involved? How many handoffs? Measure it. So define and measure the problem to give evidence that there is one. Because a lot of times we're chasing ghosts in life. We think there's a problem when there isn't.
Yep.
The problem's not out there. It's in you. You're getting in your own way, so to speak. So then you go into A and DMAIC, which is analyze. So in the define and measure phase, we're identifying what we call UDEs. UDE is an acronym for undesired effects. These are facts. These are things that are happening that we don't want. So again, you could use this on your own self. I'm in a lousy relationship. I'm in a lot of debt. I don't have a job, or I have a job I hate. Whatever. So what are the undesirable effects in your life? Define them and measure them. Show me the data. Then the analysis is why. Why are you getting these results? What are the root causes? So we go into a variety of root cause tools, like the 5 whys as an example. And good illustration of the 5 whys, for example, is the car won't start. Well, why won't the car start? That's one level of why. Why won't it start? Because the battery's dead. All right, next level, why is the battery dead? Well, because someone left the lights on. All right, why did somebody leave the lights on? Another level of the why. Because they forgot to turn them off. They're human, human error, so to speak. Very common, common problem. Well, why did they forget? Well, there's nothing to remind them. So it's human, they forgot. So when you look at the way cars are designed, engineers use the 5 whys to what they call poka-yoke in Japan, which it translates into mistake proof. So how do we mistake proof the process so that you can't leave the lights on and burn your battery out?
Yeah, that's so good.
So now you got cars that shut lights off for you. Here, I'll take care of it for you, you dummy. They call it dummy proof sometimes. Or at least there's bells and whistles to remind you, or you can't lock the car if the lights are on. Things like that. Those are designed improvements to eliminate errors.
Yeah.
So you get to that in the analysis phase. What's the real root cause here? And then the I in DMAIC is improve, make the changes, make the improvements. I even stands for innovate these days. Maybe we should, instead of making the process better, maybe we should just get rid of it. Why fix something we don't need anymore?
Yeah.
And nobody wants a 6 Sigma floppy disk, right? So, and then C is control, which is just how do we, once we make the improvements, how do we sustain them? How do we make sure that it doesn't go back to the old way? So DMAIC's a great model to keep a team on one page.
Yeah.
To work through in lean words, we often use the word rigor. It's a rigorous process. A lot of times when a team's trying to solve a problem, some people are collecting data. Other people already think they have the answer. Other people are doing the analysis paralysis. They're all on different pages. And so because they're not aligned, they're not getting the synergy that really, I like to call it the genius of the team. We don't have to have geniuses on the team, but if we do teamwork well, we'll generate something called the genius of the team, and we'll get phenomenal results. And that's what we do. And I like to say, Jody, you'll appreciate this, I think, at the end of a Kaizen event, we haven't just changed the process and improved the process. We've changed minds.
Yeah.
People who are doubters and skeptics on Monday on Friday, they're like, when are we doing another one? This was amazing.
This reminds me of 2 things. I feel like one is, I got a little big feedback there. One is Jim Collins in Good to Great talking about confronting the brutal facts. For me, as an optimist and a glass half full all the time kind of guy, confronting brutal facts was not something that I wanted to do, nor I wasn't even something I looked for. So for me, I just always looked for what was good, and I often missed what was broken or why I left the lights on in the car and why the battery died. I didn't ask why 5 levels deep. I just kept looking for the next opportunity. And which leads me to a personal story about it then, which was I started having some significant breakthroughs for myself when I started doing a process like you described, John. They didn't call it DMAIC, but it was a process of confronting brutal facts in my own life, of going like, why am I stuck? And why am I stuck there? And doing sort of that process, right? Of keep digging into the why am I stuck? And it brought me to confronting the things that I wasn't willing to look at. It brought me to looking at why I left the car light on and why I forgot why I forgot and all the things, right? And it led me to the very discovery you described in that process, which is like, oh my God, I can make this dummy proof for my own goals in my own life. So even those listening tonight that are like not in a corporate setting, but a solopreneur or somebody on their own, like this type of stuff was a game changer for me because it led me to a path of seeing what I otherwise couldn't have seen.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't you think, John, both of you were describing what happens to the people, the people because it's not just the machines that need help. The processes sure do. But I think in manufacturing, it's never, if there's a problem, it's never a problem with the people. It's always a problem with the process. And if we can dig in, and I love what you said, John, about how on Thursday they're going, let's do it again. This is great because people are starting to see the effects. And so what I got from your book, the only one I've read, John, you have 20 books, but I've only read the one, but it was a personal story about the guy in the book who could look outside himself and point fingers at what was wrong outside. Chris and I have talked about this a lot too. And as soon as we realize that I'm the common denominator in anything that goes wrong or right in my own life, that's when we can see those miracles happen, John, to use your terminology, which is just a change in perception from fear to love.
Exactly. A miracle is a correction, so to speak. It's a correction of misperception. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, these perceptions that we had that we believed to be true, it's a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Essentially. It's like, what? For how many centuries did people think the Earth was flat? Because perception, And there's a common belief that you hear it all the time. Perception is reality. No, it's not. Wake up.
Right.
That might be your reality, but you shift your perception and everything around you shifts.
How do you guys, either of you, get to the point when you're working with people as a coach, where you can shift them then from the process being the problem to them realizing that if they make the shifts in themselves, things shift? Because I think a lot of times ego is what runs us, especially in business. We don't stop to take a look in the mirror. What's been your experience with that?
Now, I use a term called the ugly baby syndrome when I'm teaching my classes, because you don't ever want to call someone's baby ugly, because now you got two problems. The kid's still ugly, and you got a knuckle sandwich in the face. And I'm kidding here a little bit, because babies are beautiful, of course. But when you go in, and I teach this in my classes, if you go in, and now these black belts, so to speak, or these experts that I train, are using DMAIC to define and measure the current state and get those brutal facts, Chris, as you mentioned, Jim Collins termed it. And, we're putting this up on a wall, and then the executive team, the senior executives come in, or the military leaders or whatever, to actually see end to end a process that is ugly. And it's not ugly because somebody thinks it's ugly, it's the data. Facts are ugly. We take 186 days to make a vitamin tablet, and it travels 14.2 miles from raw material to finished goods. Those are real numbers from a client of mine, a pharmaceutical company. Nobody knew that because nobody was asking those kind of questions. How in the world does it take 6 months to make a tablet? Because the value added work is a couple of days at best. So all that you talk about flow or lack of flow, all this, hundreds of millions of dollars in inventory sitting in warehouses. Some of it, I was with one client in Canada a few years back, and we found $100 million in inventory that had to be destroyed. It had expired.
Oh, wow.
And the head of procurement told me we got a good deal on it.
Yikes.
Wow.
We got a good deal on it. So they bought a shipload, and I'm careful how I say that. They bought a shipload of it at a good price. And of course, it's expensive warehousing. It's refrigerated, warehousing and things like that, temperature controlled, things like that. And so when you put those brutal facts in front of people, but the lesson about the ugly baby syndrome is this: is you don't tell the executives that their company or their department is ugly, because you might want to get your resume out.
Yeah.
You show them the facts. People are less likely to argue with their own data or their own conclusions. You show them the data and let them determine for themselves, oh my gosh, this is absurd. This is ridiculous. What are we going to do to fix this? Now, instead of pushing, you're pulling. So I like to use the word intrigue. When they come in here to get debriefed on whatever it is we've uncovered, it's kind of like that show Undercover Boss, where the CEOs go in undercover, and they see their own dirt, so to speak, their own brutal facts.
Right.
Like, wow. So that we essentially, model a lot of these presentations after that. Now they're engaged.
Yep.
And so that's how we get buy-in from the facts and the data, not opinions. No opinions allowed.
Yep. Oh, that's great. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's super similar, only maybe more from the spiritual right brain side of things. Like, I will come from, I always will tell one on myself and share where I've messed up and how I got it wrong, like where I was stuck. And then I flip the mirror around so you can see yourself in it. And it's ultimately showing you your madness, your misery from my lived experience. And you can, and just like you said, John, people can see their dirt in my story. And when I flip it around and I change the pronoun from me to you, right? It's just helping you see how you do what I've already shared about what I did. And then you go, and it's cool because the truth of it resonates. Like, I don't have to convince you of it because you can hear yourself in it. And that brings total buy-in, because people know when you speak the truth to people, they're like, Oh, that's true. You're speaking directly to me right now. And I may have never met you, but it doesn't matter because I know the human condition. I know the human experience of things. And so because I've lived it long enough, I know how to put words to it. When I put words to it, sometimes you haven't put words to it yet, but you live with it every day, chattering in the back of your mind. So when I say it, you're like, oh, you totally got me, you know?
How did you read my mind? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I love that. I love that speaking truth is universal.
John is speaking, I feel like, John, how you described it, speaking truth in data, speaking truth in like, let's look at the brutal facts. And I'm speaking truth from an empathetic, lived experience space. I feel like they're different, but they also are the same, right? Because you see yourself in both.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. And, you know, A Course in Miracles teaches that the truth with a capital T is one truth. You cannot have individual truths that conflict with each other, because that's then not consistent with capital T truth. Mm-hmm. So if whatever your truth is truly true, there's no conflict. Mm-hmm. There's no conflict. But you have all kinds of people with their individual ego truths conflicting with one another. That's not the truth. Yeah. And so what is the truth? What is capital T? It's just, and it's the same with capital L in the Course in Miracles. We've got little L, which is ego love we fall in and out of. I love my car, I love my house. But A Course in Miracles teaches that anything temporary isn't real. So that car isn't real, your house isn't real, your body isn't real, it's temporary. Mm-hmm. The only thing that's real is eternal. Mm-hmm. And when you get into, you know, a lot of times we think we're a body that has a soul. Mm-hmm. It's completely the opposite.
Yeah.
We have an eternal soul that has a body for a while. Yeah. And that body serves a purpose. And so people are often asking, like, well, what's my purpose in life? I'm trying to find my purpose. What's my passion? And I'll keep it real simple for people. Your purpose is whatever gift you've been given to give. Mm. We all have gifts, and our purpose is to give them away. Mm. So by sharing our gifts with the world to make the world a better place, that's our purpose. Now you got to think about, what is my gift? You know, Chris, you said you're very right brain, so creativity has something to do with it. Mm-hmm. I'll give you a real quick illustration, especially since I'm in Orlando right now tonight. You know, Walt Disney's right down the street, and Walt Disney's, the man, Walt Disney's personal mission statement was to use my imagination to bring happiness to millions. Mm-hmm. That was his personal mission statement. Stop and think about the power in that statement. Mm-hmm. To use my gift, in his case, my imagination, for what reason? To bring happiness to millions of people. So his is a combination of mission and vision statement. Mm-hmm. The mission is the why, you know, the vision is the what. Mm-hmm. So why is this important? Because I'm going to make a whole lot of people happy, and I'm going to do it using my gift. So I often, and I write about it in some of my books, figure out what your natural gifts are. By the way, you'll know you're meant to do it when it feels good. Yeah. When you're doing what you're meant to be doing, it feels good. Yeah. Whatever that is. So that's what I would call capital T truth, because it's a win-win. Mm-hmm. It's not a win-lose. You're not doing this to one up somebody else, you know, or you know, to win somebody has to lose. That's an old paradigm. That's an ego paradigm. Right. You're beyond that.
So I love the way you just framed that. And at least Chris and I, John, I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but our Christian upbringing would say, at least mine would say, that's completely the opposite of what you just said. If it feels good, it must be wrong, is the way I was raised in my Christian upbringing. And so how do you, John, I don't even remember how you were raised. Catholic?
Catholic.
Yeah. So that kind of is a shift. At least it is for me. How do you do that? How do you put those things together?
Well, all religions are paradigms. They're isms. Anything that ends in ism is a box. That's what's paradigm. And I often say to my classes that it doesn't do a lot of good to solve problems inside a box when it's the box that's the problem. Yeah. It's the holism that's the problem. And you can see that in our healthcare systems. You can see that in all kinds of things. These isms, these beliefs, these paradigms that you're supposed to stay inside of. Now, so that in the Catholic paradigm, I used to be an altar boy. I was going to church all the time. And one of the mantras in the Catholic Church is, I am not worthy. Mm-hmm. So week after week after week, you are programming your mind to think you're not worthy. You're not deserving. And then you go through life wondering, why am I struggling so much? Where capital T truth, and of course in Miracles speaks to this, is God doesn't make any mistakes. You're not a mistake. You are worthy. You are deserving. You are supposed to receive. So I like to talk about people's essence. What's my essence? It's a close cousin to purpose. Your essence is to blossom. And I use the metaphor of a flower frequently when I talk about this. A flower is not trying to grow. It's not working hard. Yeah. It's not, and that's another paradigm. Oh, if we're going to be successful in life, we have to work hard. Right. No, you don't.
Right.
You gotta work smart.
Right.
You got to have a winning strategy, but you don't have to work that hard.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to get out of your own way and allow your essence to flow, your spiritual essence, like the flower does, like the oak tree. Oak tree doesn't try to grow tall and bear acorns. It does it because it's supposed to. Mm. Grass doesn't try to grow green. It does because it's supposed to. So stop and ask yourself, what are you supposed to be doing? Yeah. What, and I like to say to people, a lot of times you find your purpose and your passion, and I often call it moments of bliss. Think back into your life to moments of bliss when you were in a state of timelessness, of peak productivity. You were just in flow. You were totally in flow. What was it? What were you doing? And how did that feel? Maybe you were dancing. Maybe you were playing the piano. Maybe you were drawing pictures or painting, paintings. Maybe you were playing a game as a kid, where you're operating on like a surgeon, could be anything. What really turned you on? And that's a clue about your essence. I'm here to be using this talent, this God-given talent, not for selfish reasons, but to make the world a better place reasons. Mm-hmm. What can I do to help? And when you ask yourself those questions, what do I have to offer? What can I do to help? And I am worthy to do that. And you're not chasing the money, which is another common paradigm. The money's chasing you.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So, Chris, what's your experience been like with that, the Christian version of this and the spiritual version of this?
You have to remind me the spiritual version of what?
Of what we're talking about with your essence and being in that flow state. Because I know, maybe it's only me, but when I was conditioned as a kid, if it feels good, it's wrong. You can't do things that feel good because you're worthy. Like you just said, John, you're worthy and unclean, and you are not supposed to have things be in flow state. And so if I ever felt like, oh, this feels so right to me, there was always something in the back of my mind that said, then it must be wrong. Mm-hmm. And so my religion was like this, and my spirituality was like this, and it was just a damn, not even.
I got tripped up by the question because as John was talking, my mind was going to, I feel like part of the problem that's in the human condition is this comparison thing. Like It's very hard for me to step into my gifts and my strengths and who I'm meant to be, because I'm constantly comparing my results to other people's results. I'm comparing my insides to other people's outsides. I'm like, well, they're prettier than me. They're taller than me. They're more athletic than me. They're richer than me. Like there's all of these things. And if you're in business, which I believe a lot of people in this audience are, like, I feel like there's even more comparison because there's a financial stake for you to figure this out. And so what you do to figure it out is you look at and model and read books and listen to podcasts to try to get a take on or an angle on how you should be doing it. But that should be doing it is always somebody else's doing it. Not you're doing it, it's they're doing it. And so that's what you're comparing yourself to. And so you're set up for failure from the very beginning if how you're trying to find true north is by comparing what you do to what somebody else does. So like if I overlay that now onto Christian upbringing or, the box, the ism creates this way of being that you are constantly in comparison to. And I think it's Neil Donald Walsh that talks about separation theology. Like there is this there is this, God is over there, I'm over here, I'm not worthy. There's a gap between me and God. I was born into sin. It's actually interesting when you listen to people more in a Celtic tradition. Like there's a guy named, I think it's John J.P. Phillips, not Phillips. Anyway, it's fascinating because in that tradition, they actually don't see original sin as a thing. It's not an original sin thing. It's we're born perfect, and it's, as we get older, we kind of like lose our way and lose ourselves. But I think that anytime you're in a box, whether it's a business box and you're trying to build a business, looking at everybody else in the box, or it's a religious box, doesn't matter. You're always in comparison, and it's when you can let go of the box that you get to step into who you really are.
Yeah, that's A Course in Miracles, John, right? I mean, it's not our job to look inside ourselves for the bad things. I can't remember what Marianne Williamson says. Something about it's our job to seek out what we've put in the way, because we're born perfect. We're born in the image and likeness of our Creator, and what we've learned is fear here.
Yeah, and most of it's subconscious, so we're not even aware of it.
Right.
It's at a deep unconscious level, so to speak. Over 95% of our day is run by the subconscious mind. This is the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton. It's actually upwards of 98, 99% of your day you're running on autopilot. You're running on subconscious programs. You don't even know why you're afraid of certain things. You don't know why you get nervous before you have to give a speech. You don't know why you doubt yourself. It's all subconscious, but it's running your life. So the secret is to find the limiting beliefs, those flawed assumptions that you're making about yourself at the subconscious level, and delete them. And when you delete those, you're deleting obstacles to flow. Now spiritual flow flows through you. So, we don't individually do anything. We think we do. The ego wants us to believe that. I wrote 20 books. I'm all this, I'm all that. I didn't write those books alone. I channeled all of that. Okay. I just happened to be the vehicle, the tool, so to speak. But when we start giving credit to where it's really due, which is a force much greater than any one of us, it's a holy force, if you will. Yeah. Here's how I describe the difference between religion and spirituality in the book Miracle Minded Manager. Jody, you read this. Religion is where we worship somebody else who had a spiritual experience. Could be Jesus, could be the Buddha, could be Moses, could be Muhammad, whatever. And those, Jesus said it, even the least among you can do far greater than I. The Buddha said, my fingers, my teachings are like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't confuse the finger with the moon. Essentially what they're saying, don't idolize me, don't worship me. Okay, you can have the same experience that I have had.
Yeah. Right.
And so when we are really in spirit, and I'm a big believer in meditation techniques to get in touch with our higher self, our capital S self, beyond the ego self, the small s self. We get in touch with that, and we have these divine, sacred, transformational experiences. It's mind-blowing. There's where the miracles really appear. It's mind-blowing, because now we're not worshiping somebody else who had this incredible experience. We're having it.
Yeah.
We're having it.
I never thought about that. We worship people who had the spiritual experience, when really we could be the ones having the spiritual experience if we would just step into our own greatness.
Well, and it's part of our, especially here in America, it's part of our culture. We idolize athletes. What's this athlete? Who do they think we should vote for? What is this actress or actor? Who are they telling us to vote for?
Yeah.
Seriously. We have a culture of idolatry. We love to idolize people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But hey, why don't you idol your own higher self? If you're going to idolize anybody, get in touch with your real self, who you really are. And all of the isms are boxes. And the ego thought system is where that comes from. The ego thought system is a box. It's a belief system. It's a thought system. It's fear-based. The ego is all about fear. Chris, to your point, it's all about comparison. Whenever we're comparing anything, it's the ego that's talking.
Yep.
And it's not spirit. Spirit doesn't compare. Spirit doesn't see separation.
Yeah.
We do. We think we're all separate. We think God's separate.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that, you know, and Course in Miracles teaches that the only real sin is the idea of separation. We're not separate. We're all connected. We just don't see it with a human eye. So the ego thought system, as long as we're trying to solve problems inside that thought system, we don't understand love. We don't understand forgiveness. Mm-hmm. Ego thinks of forgiveness as, well, I was right and you were wrong, but I forgive you. Right. That's condemnation. Yeah. You know, that's not forgiveness, that's condemnation. And when we condemn somebody else, guess who we're really condemning?
Yeah.
Ourselves. When we can't forgive somebody else, we're holding on to our own guilt, our own shame. And those are very low frequency energies. So misery loves company, right? So when we put out a low frequency energy vibe like that, which is something that comes from the heart, at the heart center, it's called heart coherence. When we're putting out a negative vibe of any way, we're attracting negativity into our lives. That's the law of attraction. We reap what we sow. So you got to pay attention to what vibe am I putting out there? Am I putting out a vibe of true, capital L, unconditional love? Or are there conditions on it? Expectations. That's small l, ego love.
Yeah.
These are two completely different thought systems. The fear-based dualistic ego system, which is human nature. Yeah. Everybody understands that. We all get attached to that ego thought system. Or the spirit thought system, which is capital L love.
Yeah.
And when we're putting that vibe out and we're thinking in those terms, we're thinking in terms of compassion, true forgiveness, effortless manifestation, abundance. There's enough for everybody. The ego thinks in terms of scarcity. Well, if I give you what I have, then I don't have it anymore. Mm-hmm. Spirit says, when I give you what matters, I have more of it. When I give you love, I feel more love. Mm-hmm. When I forgive you, I am forgiven. When I give you a sense of peace, a sense of joy, laughter, I get more. Mm-hmm. I haven't given anything away. They're not separate. Mm-hmm. But see, ego just doesn't get that. So as long as we're attached to that ego thought system, we're not living life as it's meant to be.
Yeah. That's good. John, how does this kind of conversation show up in your work in Washington, D.C. with the military? I mean, how long does it take you to have that kind of conversation with somebody who's out to, you know, bomb somebody or whatever they're up to?
It's not a conversation with words. Mm-hmm. It's a demonstration of behavior. So you teach this kind of thing first by being it. It's like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Well, be the peace that you want to see in the world. Well, everybody's freaking out about COVID or freaking out about, you know, politics and elections and riots and chaos and all this stuff. You don't have to tune into that, because when you tune into that vibe, you're asking for more. So the world's never going to be at peace if you're not. Why don't you start there? It's the only thing you have any control over. Mm. So of Course in Miracles teaches, don't attach your happiness to anything external. Mm-hmm. Don't attach it to what's going on somewhere else in the world. Don't attach it to, you know, your family, even your children. Don't attach your happiness to anything external that you have no control over, because then you'll never be happy. You'll never put out that happy vibe, which means you'll never get that back, because it's all energy. So what do I have any control over? How I respond to things. All right. That doesn't mean I don't turn the news on and watch the news from time to time. But if it agitates me, that's not doing any good. Turn it off. Mm-hmm. Put some good music on. Mm-hmm. And if the world understood how important it is to put a good, positive, healthy, loving vibe out, then we'd have world peace, so to speak. Yep. But until then, find peace in your own life. Mm-hmm. There's a term called imperturbability. Learn to be imperturbable to whatever's going on around you. Be the change you want to see in the world. Again, to quote Gandhi, be the peace, be the joy, be the bright light, be the smile. And so when I go into Washington, it isn't a word I say. It's, I embody it.
Mm. And they sense it and they feel it from you.
Yeah, it's like animals can sense when a person's afraid. So can people. Mm-hmm. You know, and you mentioned that I played some football as a quarterback. You walk up to the line of scrimmage, you have a play called, you have a strategy, you have a game plan, you practiced all week, you know what you want to happen. Truth is, you have no idea what's going to happen when that ball is snapped. The world's uncertain.
Yeah.
The same thing when we get up in the morning. We have a plan, we have some goals, things like that, but the truth is the world's very uncertain. So how do you approach it? As a quarterback, I could tell you right now, you walk up to the line of scrimmage, if you're afraid and you're all worried and you're all jittery, and you're doomed. Everybody will see it. You're doomed. Game over. So a true champion approaches the day, life, the line of scrimmage, with poise, with courage, with grace, with trust in the process, with confidence, and it makes a huge difference energetically. Huge. So that's how I approach anything, whether it's in Washington, D.C. or anything else. I go in with grace, with an open mind, an open heart, appreciation, and I demonstrate how to run a highly sophisticated, intense event effortlessly. And it calms the team down. And after day 2, they're like, this actually is going to work. Wow, this is incredible. And that's the shift.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's not a doing, it's a being completely.
Well, remember that we're human beings.
Yeah, right.
Not human doings.
Right. Right.
Right.
I can think about a time. I was just going to say, I could think about a time when I would listen to a conversation like this, and what I would hear is, yes, that's so good. I need to find my confidence. I just need to embrace my confidence. And then I would go read a bunch of books about trying to find my confidence, right? Like I kept looking for the answer outside myself, because I'd be like, well, John, how do I get my confidence? And I think which by the way is a function of comparison again, because now I'm going to compare how you got to your confidence and then see if I can get to my confidence the way you got to your confidence. That's not the path. You have your own path. But one of the things that was constructive for me in starting to find my own voice and my own power in things was listening to what Spirit had to say about me. Right. I would call that a sacred conversation. Like if you were to have, Carl Jung called it active imagination. There's this dialogue between you and whoever you want to speak to on a computer screen, on a whiteboard, in a journal, whatever. But that I could start asking Spirit, how do you see me? Who do you see me as? And to just wait for the answer to come through. And for me, it doesn't come as like an audible word, but there is this, usually for me, it's like a recurring thought or phrase that keeps coming. It just keeps coming. And I know when I get that, I know that that's what's coming through. And I started to expand how I saw myself. It didn't come from a book. It didn't come from a podcast. It was an internal discovery. And it started to expand. And you know what else about it? There was a litmus test for that was it felt true. I'm like, I totally get that about myself. Yeah.
Well, and that's essentially what A Course in Miracles is. It's a reprogramming of the mind. So, the first part of the workbook, it's one lesson a day for 365 days, essentially. And so at the very beginning, you're deprogramming a lot of flawed assumptions and beliefs that you have. And then you're reprogramming the mind with very enlightening beliefs. And it's truly transformational. I mean, I first took it over 10 years ago, and my life has just changed immensely as a result of it. And I continue to take it as a refresher every year now. So just because it's each day has a one-liner daily mantra, and and then there are some review lessons and things as you go through the course. But you just contemplate that one line throughout the day, and you're like, For example, one of the lines is, I am the light of the world. That's not the ego is the light of the world, not you, the small s-I, but essentially each of us is the light of the world, so to speak. So whenever I look at somebody during that day or whatever, I see that they're the light of the world. And when you see the Christ in someone else, they see the Christ in you, so to speak.
Yep.
So you're looking beyond the physical, the form, to the formless, to the energy, to the light, the spirit. And when you really see that in people, especially when they're testing you a little bit or pushing your buttons, that's when you really get tested.
Yeah.
But it's profound. It's amazing. And then,
So,
I take that into my work. I take it into my writings and my speeches. And
so John, in the Miracle Minded Manager, I thought it was really fascinating when we talked earlier, and you were talking about the characters in this book. And I don't know if this is true for every book, but they all have the initials JM, which I found really funny because the protagonist, the antagonist, the hero, they're all JM, and it's because that's your initials.
Right. And you asked me which one of them is me.
Yeah.
So what did I say to you?
I think you said all. Yeah, they all were you, right?
All of them.
And in this book, Jordan is the enlightened, consultant who's coming into this manufacturing organization, and I'm really interested in how Jordan has the courage to say what he needs to say to Jack in this book, and Jack is just intrigued enough by Jordan's peacefulness. And you said earlier, just it's who you be, it's not what you do. And so in this book, when you, John, are Jordan, I'm guessing that's how you show up for people. And then you have the people who are like the Jack, who are like, there's something about this guy. I want what he got. And then they're more open to what you teach, I would bet.
Yeah, there's an old phrase, Eastern phrase, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You're not doing a whole lot of good pushing something on someone who's just not ready yet. So there has to be a readiness. And as you know, in that story, Jack was at wit's end. He was stressing out. He didn't know what to do. He didn't feel he was healthy physically, emotionally, even though he was successful. He's the president of a major business unit for this company called TIPCO, which stands for Typical Company. And, he's got a fancy house, fancy cars, wife and 2 kids and all that stuff, but he was just torn up inside. So he gets the help, and Jordan tests him a little bit in the beginning of the book to see if he's ready, and he is. So then Jordan reveals some ideas that he might want to consider, including A Course in Miracles. And the book gets into the law of attraction and some Taoist teachings and other things as well. But it's essentially, that book is about not trying to manage stress. It's about deleting it. Why manage something you can get rid of? So, we have all these stress management strategies, but what about getting rid of it in the first place and knowing where it at? So when we go to the 5 whys and we drill down, where does it come from? It comes from the ego thought system, which is a thought system built on doubt and fear and worry and anxiety. So what if I could get out of that thought system, get out of those programs, those subconscious programs? What if I could delete those? What would life be like if I woke up every day eager and enthusiastic and inspired without any fear at all?
And I think that you were saying earlier about the conditioning and the programming that we've had throughout the course of our lives, which would say, but that's not possible. That doesn't even occur to me as a possibility because I'm so subconsciously programmed that it has to be hard and I have to work hard. And if I'm not working hard, I don't deserve the success I have. And all of that is not even true when we get back to capital T truth.
Right. Well, the ego is going to fight you on any kind of transformation because it's the end of the ego.
Yeah.
So the ego is going to fight you and trick you. The ego's clever, and it survived as long as human beings have survived. Ego is human nature, but when we realize we're actually spirit nature, human is a temporary thing. When we get in touch with our spirit nature, and the only way to do that is to transcend the ego thought system, to get out of it. You're in a box and you don't know it. This being the ego box, the ego thought system. So as long as you're in that thought system, you'll never find your way out. The ego won't let you. You'll always be comparing. You'll always be judging. You'll always be doubtful. You'll always have these. Incidentally, and this is again the work of Bruce Lipton. The subconscious mind can process 1 million bits of data per second. 1 million bits of data on average. The conscious mind is, oh, excuse me, it's 40 million bits of data. So the subconscious mind, 40 million bits of data. The conscious mind, 40 bits of data.
40.
It's a 1,000,000 to 1 ratio.
Wow.
So while your conscious mind is saying, well, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution and stop eating, pastries, or I'm going to, quit this or start that. That's the conscious mind. That's the will, by the way, 40 bits of data per second. Well, the conscious mind's doing that. The subconscious mind's going, yeah, right. You tried that last year. Good luck.
Yeah.
You're never going to quit that. You're never going to do that. And the subconscious mind's running your life for the most part. Yeah. So you've got to get to the subconscious mind to really get out of your own way. The conscious mind is not powerful enough. Now you need the conscious mind to become aware of the subconscious. Quickest way to do that, by the way, is to start looking at your tendencies, because one tendency can have thousands of thoughts built within it. So look at your tendencies, look at your habits. Do you have a tendency to get nervous in certain situations? Do you have a tendency to doubt yourself? Do you have a tendency to, to get angry in certain situations? Look at the tendencies and then drill down to the thoughts, the underlying thoughts that trigger that. And then there are a variety of different release techniques, things you can do to eliminate those beliefs. I'm a fan of EFT, emotional freedom technique, something you can easily learn on YouTube. But you can find different release. There are different meditation techniques you can use to just release these blockages in your body, in your meridians, in your mind. Get these faulty programs out. It's like getting viruses off your computer. Okay, now you got a healthier operating system. You're gonna be a lot more efficient. You're gonna approach the day with a lot more confidence and faith and trust. And you're gonna people are gonna notice the difference. They're gonna ask you, to your point, Joy. They're gonna ask you, like, what's going on?
And again, because that touches your subconscious that doesn't have words yet, and they feel it before they know how to articulate it, I think. So, man, I think we could continue this conversation forever. This is so much fun. I don't want to take up a ton more of your time, but I'd like you both to say, what are you working on, or what should we let people know about if they're looking to connect with either of you? So, Chris, do you want to? What are you working on, and how could people connect with you?
The biggest thing right now is the Vibe Mastermind that you and I are creating, which is all about how do we begin to allow the mastermind to come in. A lot of what John mentioned tonight, just where you're suspending the ego so that something new can come in, like the spirit can come in. We call that the mastermind, but this mastermind structure and format is set up for high-minded people in business that want to begin to allow more of spirit to come into the things their important work in the world and the things they're doing. So that's what we're working on. And I suppose the best way to connect with us would just be to follow us or message us. Like if you're interested in the Vibe Mastermind, you could say Vibe in the comments, or just reach out to us and just let us know you're interested, because that's where we're headed.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. And John, you have some books. You're writing 2 books in parallel. I don't know how you're doing that, but tell us what you're up to.
I'm writing a book on influence, and then I'm writing a guidebook on the 4 steps to inner peace that I reference in another one on my book's Beyond Doubt. The 4 steps, by the way, for your audience are let be, let go, let see, and let flow. So let be is about being present, being patient, being here, being now, being awake, being aware. The let go is getting all that baggage out of your belief system. Letting go of attachments you have no control over, letting go of ego, for example, and how to do that. Then when you do that, you move into the next phase, which is let's see. You see everything differently. This person that used to annoy you doesn't annoy you anymore. This situation that used to aggravate you, it doesn't aggravate you anymore. You start to embody that real sense of peace, which leads to the 4th step, let flow. We've talked a lot about flow on the show, where things just flow in and out of your life effortlessly. And you pull into a New York City and you're trying to find a parking. You got to park, and all of a sudden, there's a parking spot that just opens up right in front of you effortlessly. I mean, I get kidded about that all the time, because I'll be in the car with somebody and they'll say, where should we park? I just go, go up to the front door, go right up to, they're like, it's never going to be a spot there. Just go to the front door and see what happens.
Trust me.
It doesn't always happen, of course, but it's amazing. So I'm writing a book on that, and then my speaking engagements have really gotten shut down this past year. But doing a lot of doing some virtual stuff, some virtual lean classes. I've got a client out in California. I'm doing some lean and DMAIC. We talked about DMAIC, some classes on Zoom for that, basically. But it's I'm writing a lot of articles. I do that just to do what I can to help. Gets back to that sense of mission and purpose. And a lot of these I don't get paid for these articles. I just write them to help people. And they're published in some pretty nice journals and things.
So if we just Googled you, John J. Murphy, right?
Yeah, or you can go to my website. My body of work is on my website, which is johnjmurphy.org, www.johnjmurphy.org. I've got a YouTube channel with a couple hundred YouTube free self-help videos on everything from nutrition and nourishment to DMAIC to EFT, emotional freedom technique, meditation, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm easy to find under author John J. Murphy. Yeah, a lot of John Murphys in the world, so I gotta throw something in there.
No, it's been so much fun. John, I've just appreciated so much your willingness to always have these conversations and to just help me step into what I know I'm here to do too. It's fun because I think both Chris, you guys, we could all probably agree that when we become more of ourselves, we attract in our magnetism, we attract who we are, not what we want. And that's what I'm starting to understand is by just being, like you said, John, be the change you want to see in the world. And then you start attracting who you are. And that's what's been really fun about getting to know you, John, and you too, Chris.
Yeah, I just close by saying, seek to understand your essence, like that flower, like that oak tree. What are you here to do effortlessly, to flow? So that doesn't mean you don't set goals, you don't act on your ideas. You got to put yourself out there, of course. But what is it you're supposed to allow in your life to really grow and blossom? Because you're here to blossom. So get out of your own way and let that flow happen.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for being with me tonight, both of you. And look these guys up, if anybody who's listening live or later, because you won't be sorry.
All right. Thanks, Jody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Take
Chris.
care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.